So, good morning. It is May 4th, so May the 4th be with you. Haha, Star Wars joke. Starting it off strong. So, as some of you have probably heard and seen by now, graduation is going to be all online, and that is going to be on the 14th, so 10 days from now. So, literally not this Thursday, but next. And how we're going to have to do it is we're going to have to do it virtually. So that means online. Full details haven't been announced about it. I don't know if it's going to be on a Google Hangout, on a Zoom, or anything like that. It's going to be on one of those two. I just don't know which one yet. So, knowing that, it's going to be May 14th, so 10 days from now. So, a little over a week. So, knowing that, there's going to be a pretty quick turnaround on this. Okay. Each one of your classes is going to graduate. So it goes, I think, Miss Fisher's class, and then Miss Bell's class, and then my class. So we did that so your parents, grandparents, whoever else wanted to be on the video with you could do it from anywhere. So your grandma in South Dakota could be on, your grandpa in Florida could be on, your cousin in Australia could be on. It doesn't really matter. They just have to get on at the appropriate time. Okay. So knowing that, that was kind of the goal of doing it online where everybody could be there. But we also don't want to make y'all or your parents sit through every single graduation. If Alejandra decides that she wants to go watch Miss Fisher's class, she can get on there and watch Miss Fisher's class. If she wants to sit there and watch Miss Bell's class, she can sit there and watch Miss Bell's class. If she wants to sit there and watch my class, she can. So it's all about whoever, if you want to watch all three of them, there's going to be room for you to get a chance to watch all three of them. Okay. So that's kind of the hope and kind of the goal. So you can be as involved as you want, or as little involved as you want. Okay. But those are going to be on May 14th. I believe my class is at 6. I don't remember the other order of the other two, but they start at 5 and then 5:30. Okay. Does anybody have questions on that part before we get rolling? Go on. Go on, Tori. Sold. All right. So some of you probably already heard, but we have finished the book. So the math book is done. It is no more. It is over with. You can still use it as a reference if you need to. If you haven't submitted your work yet, you can still go back and submit your work. Okay, that'll be just fine. But that's neither here nor there. So what we're getting into today and over the next 2 days is we're going to get into the area of a triangle. Okay, so it's actually pretty simple. Okay, pretty simple. So for area, it's always been length times width, correct? Kaylee, I tell you that, but I go through and grade everything. So it should say 10 out of 10, not 10 out of 10 on the graded system in the Google Classroom. Okay. So if you're missing something, you either have a 0 or so. Area of a triangle. So for area, it's always been length times width, correct? That's all it is. For area of a triangle, you just add one more step. So when you look at a triangle, it's literally half of a square if it's a right angle. Would you agree or disagree? You should agree. Because if you have a perfect right angle, then it's half of a square. So can you guess the formula of a area of a triangle? 1/2 length times width. So literally you just multiply length times width and then divide by 2. That's all it is. So let's look at something about that. So right angle area sheet 1. Kyle, can you imagine what's coming next? So, the area of a rectangle is 8 times 5. Everybody knows if this was a full rectangle, all it is just 5 times 8. And that gets you 40 centimeters squared. For a triangle, your formula is 1/2 base times height. Or not base times height, length times width. Okay? So it's literally 1/2 length times width. So 5 times 8 is 40, divided by 2 is 20. Okay? So literally, all you're going to do is multiply the sides and divide by 2. The whole process. Does that process make sense? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. So that's the whole process. So knowing that, don't put the answer just yet, but try 1 and 2. Okay, try 1 and 2, put the answers in the chat, but don't send them just yet. All right, so put your answers in the chat, see what you got. Please don't draw on my screen. So right now I'm seeing 16 and 24. Do we agree with those? Do we not agree with those? Do we understand how they got those answers? Do we not understand how they got those answers? Ishan,
Yeah.
tell me how you got number 1. You can't hear me, Ishan? Okay, say something. I thought you couldn't hear me. That's fine though. I'll go to somebody else. Mitchell, you're unmuted. Tell me how you got number 1.
So how I got number 1?
Mhm.
So I had to divide. So 1/2 times 8. So basically that cuts it short, which means cuts it in half, which equals 4. So 4 times 4 equals 16.
Boom. That works just fine. So some of you probably did 8 times 4 and got 32 and then divided it by 2 and got 16. That answer is perfectly fine as well because you ultimately end up on the same one. I'm going to mute you again, Mitchell. So you can do it like he did it, where you go ahead and divide an even number. That's typically what I do because I like dealing with smaller numbers and not bigger numbers. So what he did was he found his biggest even number and divided it by 2 and got 4. And then 4 times 4 is 16. Makes sense, easy. You could have multiplied everything out. You could have divided the 4 by 2 and had 8 times 2. All of those systems work. The whole process is you multiply these together and you divide by 2. It does not really matter which order you do it all in, though. Okay. So, Mohammed, talk me through number 2.
I just did 6 times 8 equals 48 divided by 2, 24.
Boom. Does that work out? Of course.
Yes.
So, the whole process is 1/2. I call it length times width, but they call it base times height. Okay. So length times width, base times height, either one of those is fine. However you do it. It's just 1/2 base times height. That's all it is. So that's the whole process for understanding the area of a perfect right triangle. Okay. So we're going to do this over the next 2 days. Today, we're talking about if they are perfect right angles like this. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about if they're not so perfect. Okay. There's a way and process to do them when they're not absolutely flawless. But these today are going to be absolutely flawless. So what I want y'all to do now is I want y'all to try 3 and 4. Try 3 and 4 for me. Put your answers in the chat, but don't send them just yet. There's the bottle down there at the bottom. Do you want that instead? No. Yeah. Catherine, don't spill. Mitchell, look at number 4 again. Nikki, that is perfect. Mitchell, that is not. Lexi, your numbers are perfect, but remember when you're doing length times width, it's squared. Other than that, it's flawless, but it's really difficult to actually type that in. So, all right, so I guess everybody's kind of going through and submitting answers. So let's talk through. So yes, number 3 is going to end up being 40 centimeters squared. Number 4 is going to end up being 50 meters squared. Okay. Oh, does anybody want to talk me through number 3? Well, y'all 2 have already done that. Anybody else want to talk through? Kaylee, I'm coming to you. You're unmuted, Kaylee.
I just did 10 times 8 and then divided that by 2.
Yeah, so when you did 10 times 8, what'd you get?
80.
80, and then divided by 2?
40.
Boom, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right?
Yes.
Hey, that's all this is. All right, anybody want to talk me through number 4? Tell me in the chat. All right, so Lonnie, let me find your name. There you are. Saloni, you're unmuted.
I did 5 times 20, which is 100, and then divided it by 2, and then I got 50.
Boom. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. I'm meeting you again now. So that's all this process is. That's all this process is asking. Okay. So the reason, well, let me go ahead and tell you what we're going to do all week. Okay. So I'm going to try to give you a head start on some of the things that you're going to see next year. Okay. So this question right here, every single year, is an ACT question on your 6th grade math ACT. Every year. This question right here. Y'all have been doing this for a grand total of 15 minutes. Is there any reason y'all should miss this question in the future? No. Literally in 15 minutes, you already know this answer for next year. Kaylee, we are not doing it this year. So this year there is no ACT. This year there is no NWA at the end of the year. As of right now, there is no testing for anything right now. What I don't know is if when everything, what do you mean they got off the last test? No. So basically there's just going to be a little gap. They're not going to officially assess the, you know, how we do the third interim and then the actual test at the end. So they just won't have those scores. So, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, it kind of is what it is. So Saloni, based on your 6th grade, let me rephrase that. As far as I know, nobody is being held back because of math. They may be in trouble in some other classes, but to my knowledge, nobody's being held back because of math this year. But I mean, there's still a little bit of time left, so yeah. You know, typically NWA is a good indicator of where, if you're going to potentially be placed into an advanced course next year. And some of you were right there on that cusp, and some of you wanted to try to take it again to hopefully take that next bump up. So they offer it in the summer every year, but with all of this stuff going on, I don't know if they're going to be able to offer it in the summer. So based on that, I don't know how they're going to fully do placements next year. So be looking out for that to see if there's an opportunity to come up there and test. Okay, if you're wanting to test, you're happy with what the score you got, and be happy with it. Okay, but I know some of you wanted to try to take that next step. So Allison, you will not have to make up the ACT. There will be no makeups for it. Next year will just be like a normal testing period. So yeah. So does anybody else have any questions or concerns about ACT or anything like that that you've kind of been worried about? You're good, Bethany. We're on the tail end of it. We're going to wrap up here in just a second, but we're talking through if people have questions about ACT and stuff. No? Okay. Also, what's going to happen is the teachers are packing up this week. So we're packing up this week. So what that's going to mean is we're also going to pack up your lockers as well. So if your locker, if you have anything left in your locker, there's going to be an official day for you to be able to go pick it back up. If you don't have anything in your locker, then you don't have anything in there. but my day is Friday. I want to say Miss Bell's up there today, so if she doesn't answer, kind of give her some slack. And then Miss Fisher goes sometime this week. I don't know what day. So there may be a day that your teachers are kind of not there. So take a breath. That's a great question, Allison. I don't really know. I know Miss Lee had the TikTok star thing for like dancing for appreciation for your teachers, but I haven't heard anything official about it. So whatever you would like to do. Honestly, you don't have to do anything crazy, but so anyway, she asked about Teacher Appreciation Week. This is typically Teacher Appreciation Week at the school. So you don't have to do anything crazy. Just you know what teachers love? Nice messages from every now and then. Have your parents in the dojo and just say, "Hey, we really enjoyed having you this year," or something like that. Little things go a long way. You don't have to do anything crazy. What also would be awesome is if we get, so for the past 3 weeks, we have increased the number of people who've actually been doing their work. So each week we've gone up just a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. If we can keep those numbers going up, that would make me very happy. That would be a great teacher appreciation gift. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about what we talked about today? Does anybody have any questions about right triangles? So I do not know officially the placements for next year. I'll have a little say about who I would recommend, and that will go a little bit of ways, but I don't know officially who is and who will not be in advanced courses next year. Okay. But I will work on that. Kaylee, you're asking, is it in our classwork? Is what in our classwork? This is not yet. This will be up there here in just a second, because as soon as I stop, the video starts uploading. Your assignment will be posted up there probably before the video is. So it'll be, give me 5 minutes and I'll try to post it there. Okay. Anybody else? Questions, concerns, anything I can help with?